All right, so today we're diving deep into Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin.
Ooh,
Have you
yeah.
had a chance to read this one yet?
Oh, I have. It's fantastic. Such an interesting story.
It really is. It's all about Sam and Sadie,
Mhm.
two video game designers,
Right.
and their journey, their relationship. Everything starts back in the 80s in
Yeah.
a hospital game room.
Yeah, it's funny because their first meeting, they're both kind of escaping reality through video games.
Yeah.
Sam's recovering from an accident, and he finds comfort, I guess, in the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then Sadie walks in and challenges him to, of all things, Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, a classic.
I know, right? And that's where it all begins. This shared love for gaming, it sparks a connection between them.
So even though they spend years apart after that, they meet again, right?
They do, at a Boston train station
Yeah.
as young adults. And their paths kind of intertwine again. It's like fate, almost.
It makes you wonder, those chance encounters.
Right. How one moment can change everything.
Okay, so we've got this shared passion for gaming bringing them together. Does that automatically translate into their creative partnership?
Well, their first attempt at making a game together, it's a total flop.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about navigating a subway system, and it just doesn't work.
Hmm.
But it's actually through that failure that their bond gets stronger.
Oh, interesting. So failure can be a good thing sometimes.
Sometimes it can be the push you need.
Okay, so it's not just about being friends, it's about collaborating, pushing each other.
Exactly. There's that tension, a bit of rivalry even, as they figure out their ambitions, both individually and as a team.
And maybe even some romantic tension.
Yeah, the book definitely dives into that gray area between friendship and romance. There's a lot of care between them.
Makes sense.
But then there are their insecurities, their past experiences holding them back.
So it's complex.
Very complex. And then there's Sam's disability, a big part of his story, but he doesn't want it to define him,
Yeah, I can see that.
He wants to express himself through his work, through his art. And that's where Alice comes in.
Alice. Who's Alice?
His in-game character. In their game, both sides, she becomes this outlet for Sam.
Okay.
A way for him to explore his vulnerability, his pain, everything he keeps inside.
So he's kind of creating a parallel narrative within the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's fascinating how he uses Alice to reflect his own struggles, almost like therapy in a way.
It makes you think about how virtual spaces can help us process things, maybe even heal.
Right, it's like a safe space to confront those deeper emotions.
Okay, so we've got Sam expressing himself through Alice. What about Sadie? Where does she fit into all of this?
Well, Sadie's got her own baggage, her own struggles.
Right. Everyone does.
We learn about her childhood, how she used video games to cope with her sister's illness, and feeling kind of overlooked by her family.
So like Sam, she found comfort in games.
Exactly. But later on, she faces depression, an unhealthy relationship, a whole different set of challenges.
So both of them are using games to cope, but in very different ways.
It's true. And that becomes a defining element of their partnership, how they channel their struggles into their game design.
Fascinating. So tell me more about their creative journey. When does it really take off?
It's during college. They meet Marks. He becomes this essential part of their team. And together, they create Ichigo.
Ichigo. What's that one about?
It's this visually stunning game, a puzzle platformer inspired by the Great Wave off Kanagawa.
Oh, I love that artwork.
Me too. It's just beautiful.
So they're finding success. Their creativity is blossoming. They've got this great team dynamic. But what about Sam and Sadie's relationship? Is it getting stronger or are they drifting apart?
Well, it's always evolving. There are moments of incredible closeness, but also periods of distance.
Yeah, like a dance.
Exactly. Their creative collaboration fuels it, but so do their personal feelings. One scene that really stands out is when they're talking about a painting.
A painting.
Yeah, cherry blossoms at night.
Mhm.
They start discussing the expectations placed on female artists,
And
how they're often expected to downplay their contributions. And this resonates deeply with Sadie,
why is that?
because she's starting to feel that same pressure in her partnership with Sam, like she's being overshadowed, even though they're working together.
That makes sense. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, even when they're successful.
No, it's definitely not. And as their fame grows with their next game, Master of the Rebels, this tension, this sense of imbalance, it only intensifies.
Master of the Revels, what's that one all about?
It's a murder mystery set in Elizabethan theater, and it becomes their breakout hit.
Wow. So they're finally getting the recognition they deserve.
They are, but fame comes with its own set of challenges, and their relationship is about to be put to the test. It's interesting because you would think that achieving that level of success, with Master of the Rebels, would bring them closer, but it actually kind of does the opposite.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like all that pressure, the attention, it can change things.
Exactly. They're dealing with fame they never really imagined. And on top of that, they're trying to manage a company, keep their creative vision alive. It puts a strain on their relationship.
This is like this constant push and pull.
Yeah, it really is. And, amidst all of that, they're grappling with this really fundamental question.
Heck yeah.
Whether the love they have for each other is enough?
Enough for what?
For everything. For their connection, their partnership, for their own individual happiness.
Geek stuff.
It is. And the book doesn't shy away from any of it. It explores those messy parts of relationships, how what we expect and what we actually experience can be so different.
So it's not just this romanticized version of their success.
No, not at all. It's about the challenges of making a relationship work, especially when it's so intertwined with their work.
Long-term relationships are hard enough as it is.
I know, right? And as their lives continue to unfold, the book delves into this idea of infinite restarts.
Infinite restarts. What do you mean by that?
It's not just about the games they create, where you can always start over.
Right.
It's about life itself. Sam and Sadie, they both go through setbacks, moments of loss, disappointments.
Yeah.
But they also find a way to pick themselves up, to keep going.
So it's about resilience, second chances.
Exactly. And that ties in beautifully with the title of the book.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
Yeah. That phrase comes from Shakespeare's Macbeth, and it reflects on the cyclical nature of life, how we face challenges, make mistakes, and yet we keep striving for something better.
It's not about escaping into virtual worlds.
No.
It's about recognizing that life itself is full of restarts, opportunities for growth and change.
Right. And just like in their games where players can try again, make different choices, Sam and Sadie find ways to navigate their own lives with that same spirit, that adaptability, that resilience.
So we've talked about their individual journeys, the complexities of their relationship, but what about the games themselves? We've touched on a few, but what about both sides? Their most successful game?
Oh, both sides. It's more than just a game in the story. It represents their shared vision, their desire to create a virtual world that's better than the one we live in, more just, more empathetic, a world that embraces differences.
It's like they're trying to fix the real world through their games.
In a way, yeah. It's an RPG with these dual worlds, and it lets players explore different perspectives, wrestle with moral choices. It's really complex.
So their games aren't just entertainment. They're a way to explore these deeper questions.
Exactly. And there's this quote from the book that I think sums it up perfectly.
Oh, let's hear it.
Virtual worlds can be better than the actual world.
All right.
They can be more moral, more just, more progressive, more empathetic, and more accommodating of difference.
Wow.
And if they can be, shouldn't they be?
That's powerful. It makes you think about the potential of video games.
Right.
To inspire, to challenge our thinking, to help us imagine all these new possibilities.
And that's what makes Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow so compelling. It's a story about creativity, about human connection, and it explores how we deal with the complexities of life in both the real world and the virtual worlds we create.
So even if someone's not a gamer, this book still has something to offer them.
I think so. It's about the human experience, the choices we make, the connections we forge, and how we find hope and resilience when things get tough.
Well, I have to say, this deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. It's a story that really sticks with you.
It does, and I think one of the most thought-provoking parts is how it ends. It leaves us with this question.
What's the question?
If you could create a virtual world, what would it be like? What values and principles would you prioritize?
Yeah, it's a real challenge, isn't it? To think about what kind of world we'd create if we had the power.
It is. And it makes you realize that the virtual worlds we build say a lot about us, our values, what we hope for, even our fears.
Like a mirror reflecting back at us.
Exactly. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow reminds us that the stories we tell, the worlds we build, whether it's in a video game or in real life, they shape who we are and who we want to become.
It's a powerful message, and I think it's something we can all take away from this book.
Absolutely. It's about the impact we have, the choices we make.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive.
I agree.
I feel like I understand these characters, their world in a whole new way.
Me too. And I think anyone listening, even if they haven't read the book, can appreciate these themes of creativity, connection, resilience. Those are universal
We
experiences.
really are. So if you're looking for a story that will stay with you long after you finish it, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow is definitely worth checking
I'm
out.
doing that.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those conversations going.
And maybe start thinking about what your ideal virtual world would look like.
That's a great idea. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.